kids. It's a wild one, all right, ain't it? One wild little ride. It's best now at this day and age that you just take yourself a little aside, man. You get yourself, a really good high seat there in the amphitheater of life, man, and you just watch this thing whirl around you, man, down there on the stage and everywhere else around you, man, because the show is everywhere you go, everywhere you see, everything you feel, everything you be, because that's what makes it real, don't you see? Just being alive in this reality and, baby, just, letting old Mary Jane give you a little hug once in a while. Now, that's a metaphorical thing I'm talking about. You may have a neighbor named Mary J. Don't you go assaulting her in any way, man, or begging her and pleading her for a little hug. No way, man. You don't beg for hugs. You are just loving enough. People can't resist. They just come and give them to you automatically. You got to think about that, man, in desperation, you don't get diddly-do. But if you're, happy inside, you got a little love going on, you're kind of bubbling over just a wee bit, you got that good attitude going on, you got some gratitude about what you're living. Even though you've been alone for 35 years now and you smell bad too, baby. Well, baby, it's flowing your way now. There might be some smelly old chick out there that matches you perfectly, okay? At least that's what they say, this twin flame thing, man. You got two flames that become one flame, but guess what? That is burning each other up, isn't it, It ain't about twin flames, it's about seeing that twin flame in your heart. Seeing it then all over the place, because that is your love. This life that we're living. That's your true lover. That's the life we're given. The horse we're riding and the territory we're passing through. And it creates itself all around you as you're passing through on that magical horse, babies. I tell you what. You see what I mean? You got a ringside seat there in the amphitheater, besides getting to ride the horse, besides getting to be in the band, besides good morning starshine, you're coming back to life. Man, it's about time too, But you know what I'm talking about? That attitude of gratitude that just brings love to you, man. It cannot be helped. And maybe you don't need a lot of hugs. Maybe you don't need this, that, or the other. But guess what? Whatever it is that, the universal heart desires you to be, that's where you're going to be, and that's who you're going to be, and that's how you're going to be, and that stuff's just going to come to you because that's the way it works. When our personality stands out of the way, we start to find new direction, okay? You can take it personal. But not in a personal sort of way. You're not isolated in any way. Even though you seem to be a cadaver that only holds a little tiny bit of life and barely is making it in this life, you feel like you're wobbly in a wheelchair already at 17, man. You're barely getting started. Don't worry about it, man. Gee whiz. You ain't gonna be in that wheelchair for long. Guess what? You're 17, man. You bounce back, baby. If you don't believe me, well, just hang on a little bit. I don't care how many drugs them old doctors and pill pushers shove upon you and how many vaccinations too. We're neutralizing that crap just for you, man. It's the love of life coming back to life. See, when we see you in trouble, we help you. Because that's us. Each one of us. Anybody in trouble, that's why, human beings normally are very compassionate with one another. When times get tough, we bond together, Now, I know there's places where that has not happened, but that's because of mass interference and social indoctrination. Mass interference through social indoctrination, but even more than that these days, eh? All these electronic wizardries and microwave beams and all this stuff coming out to play. Well, guess what? Your heart's more durable than any child's play these morons in, controlling places are going to throw your way. You're a lot better than that. You don't have to live that way, and you ain't going to. Not today, not tomorrow, not the day after that. This is not the way we play. We're rock and roll, man. We're the medicine of the flow, the headwaters of life, man, where it all just begins, each one of us. That's the personal way, see? That's the only person you can take out of this personal. The only personal you want to be taken in this person is the value of your divine experience as a person, not an isolated person. A little tiny molecule, a little tiny speck of dust amongst a grand creation that, it's just so full of living life that you can't help but respond to it and encourage it evermore, man. We'll straighten out the little wrinkles and ruffles as we go along, won't we? Yeah, see, if you got a good attitude, man, whatever comes your way is going to turn out just all right. and you'll be just okay, no matter which way the flow might take us, wouldn't you say? See, it's just how it works, man, you know. So give yourself a little moment or two while we're playing this rock and roll tunage for you today here at Spring Creek on the Hazy Radio Network, man, rocking this little radio show you ever found, man. Aren't you glad you're hanging around? I am too, man. This radio's real. This radio you can live and be and see and feel and just rock with, man. That's the deal, see. Rock with it in many, many different ways. You see, it starts out with a little buzz in your bee bonnet, and you start to shake your tail, man, and next thing you know, you're like flying through the sky and, you know, walking on clouds and just dancing in the atmosphere and just having a great old time of it, dear. I mean, you know, this is how we get it clear, is to realize beyond possibility or the impossibility, either one, to realize beyond the restrictions and limitations of this foul-ass life, this little shithole place we've been living in, where everything's such a disgrace and people are so disgusting to one another, it makes you want to throw up every time you look at it. Except there's many souls and saints here that really do give a care and take care of everyone everywhere. I mean, there is a lot of righteous angels here, man, and they hold the energy for all these dark ones that can't seem to get along with anyone and are so traumatized by the brutality of life that they don't see there's love everywhere. But they're living in paradise quite naturally. Even if you're down in the ghetto or living in D.C. By the way, if you're living in D.C., I suggest you get the hell out of there, man, you know. Unless you're one of them, just stay there and go down with your ship, okay? I'm not taking any more guff from you anymore, man. I'm just giving you a fair warning, man. You know, little love shot across your bow, man, so you'll know what's coming. I mean, I know the rats are trying to flee already. Some of you are getting busted trying to leave the country, aren't you? Some pretty significant people here that are involved in some intrigue up to their eyeballs. Now, I'm not political, but that is one of the biggest shithole towns there could ever be. These are some of the sorriest excuses for human beings we ever let live. They make Nero look like a saint, man. They really do. All of them. Well, there's one or two that we kind of like, but the rest of them just phonier than a $3 bill and just nothing but drugs, 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 money, 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 more drugs, money, 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 more drugs, more drugs. And next thing you know, they're engaged in child slavery and stuff. This stuff is so disgusting. We can't even talk about it. We just put it out of business, baby, see. So I'm telling you, if you're living in D.C. and you're any part of that, you may want to, listen to your heart. If it says depart, get your ass out of there, okay? Now, it's not going to be pretty when it goes down, but, you know, it'll be beautiful because it's coming around. We know how to change things here, baby. You know, and we know how to make the most indecent of hearts feel very sincere and come around, dear, you see. So we don't got to be judging nobody or throwing them in jail, even though some of them probably deserve it up to their eyeballs. But who's really doing that stuff? It ain't the visible people. It ain't the politicians. They're just players in a play, man, pieces in a puzzle, pawns in a game. I mean, just like the rest of us, only, you know, in a little more, quote, quote, significant position. That's all. They're nobody. They're nothing, yet they're everyone and all of us. And that's why we let them get away with it, because in some way they tricked us in a way. Yet they is us, and we tricked ourselves, okay? So now we're taking care of it, you know. We let them get away with a lot. You know, it's kind of like what I used to do when I knew I was in business of one sort or another, and I'd have an engagement with a friend or a partner or something like that, you know what I mean? And you knew it was going to go south, and you knew they was going to take all the money and run, too. But you gave them every opportunity not to. You just let it stretch out, stretch out, stretch out. So the time they took the money away from you, it was almost written on the wall, man. You know, all over the place. Headlines in yesterday's paper. You know. But sometimes you just can't help yourself. You don't even think about it. You just let them stretch it. You want them to have that opportunity, you see. It's all about inclination, see. It's not choice. It's inclination. Which way is your magnetism inclined today? Which way is your energy flowing, you see? And, you know, that's how we've been redefining ourselves. And, you know, that person or persons or company or corporation, whatever it was, that you happen to be dealing with that took such extreme advantage of you is either by now out of business, but that good medicine you shared is going everywhere with the scattered pieces that are going to work for other corporations, you see. And if it's still in business, it's done a complete turnaround. And it's all of a sudden a business with a heart. Just because you stood your ground, even though you didn't even maybe know you were doing it, see? Well, if you can apply this consciously, you'll find your business dealings a lot more sensible, and you won't worry about it. If they're going to take $3 million from you, you're going to, give them every opportunity not to. And maybe you won't let them. Maybe you'll actually stop them before they do it, But maybe there's a way that, to let them work through it. Let them have it. You just got to listen to the heart. You see, there is no real theft in this reality. There's carelessness, and there's hunger. And there's those who will take no matter what. But see, if we keep that good attitude, the same one that makes people want to walk up to you on the street and give you a hug, you keep that in life in general, you'll find you'll have less and less of this situation because your very energy diffuses such criminal attitudes. And that works in a political way, too. See, so even though the thief ain't coming through your bedroom window and want to rape you or your old lady or whatever and take it all, well, darling, it's not happening. I mean, they've been stealing our children and everything. It's not happening. The whole thing is changing. I mean, it's sputtering around in the 3D, don't quite know what to make of itself. Just ignore that stuff. Encourage anything you see moving in a good direction, but basically ignore that stuff. That's somebody trying to distract you with a whole lot of bullshit that doesn't really matter. We know what we're dealing with, criminals and a criminal empire. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they reincarnated, Mr. H from way back there in WWII. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all. That dude showed up down there in Antarctica and came up here and says, okay, I'm taking over now. I've been in the background all this time, but now baby. See, that's too late when that happens, right? No way, baby. You got to remember, they is us is them. Them is all everything. We are together as a singular presence and conscious in our person. And the more conscious we become in that person, the more we affect the presence around us. Baby, it's all about attitude. It's all about lightening up as you go with the flow of the rock and roll of life, man. Whether you're in Antarctica or dancing around in Tahiti or Thailand. Oh, goodness gracious. We got them tuning in over there, too, baby. We got them everywhere around this world here in this little Spring Creek radio show. Only exclusively on Everclear. Well, babies, what do you call it? HazyRadio.com. We got it on. Yeah, that's good. I like that too, man. But, the lovingest little network you ever found. The happiest bunch of people, picking themselves up off the ground, shaking their head again and say, what the hell happened that time? Oh, well, here we go again, man. And off we are to the races, man. Only we ain't racing anymore. We look around us and guess what? Everybody's pacing us, man, and we're all making the same tread at the same time. I think time we get to the finish line, which is right now, well, that's the beginning line, man, and we all step over it in, a uniform fashion. They'll take lots of pictures trying to declare somebody a winner, and guess what? Nobody is. Everybody is. We're all totally in synchronicity in this collective heart of ours. We've tested the inclination of it again and again by fracturing it off into little tiny persons that felt alone, but were in fact part of a test group that were, putting the old heart through its paces, man. You got to remember, it was called the human races, with a plural on the end of the race, man, because, wow, there's lots of us and lots of varieties, even more than you ever see here on Earth. See, our family is coming back from the great beyond. We traveled with them. We scattered our seed all over the universe, and then some way in the way back when. I mean, the way back when. They don't tell you about this stuff. We come from some pretty high places, but had to go through our disgraces in order to learn not to be disgraceful in any way. Now, I know it's kind of hard to believe all that shit when you look around you today and you see, people tweaking out and, trying to shoot each other because they don't like the way each other looks, acts, lives, whatever, take, gimme, me. Well, baby, that's all coming apart, isn't it? There's a lot of folks out there finding it hard, just like you are today in that Coyote sort of way. All it takes is one little sip of this magic water, man, from Spring Creek. So if you tuned in for a moment today, you got it already, okay? Grandpa just here to coach you into what's already been. That's the way we work, man. Me and little Obi-Wan Kenobi, we can see the trail, man. Now we're helping you see it too, okay? Shine a little spotlight right there where you are so you'll know which way your toes flow, okay? And it's fun to walk around these little mountain streams, isn't it? I thought so, man. All the life just comes out, and the whole life wants to give you a hug. You don't have to hug the trees. The trees come hug you, because that's what real loving trees do, man. Here at Spring Creek, the headwaters. You don't feel it, man. Everything is love. Everything is real. Everything is right. When you're in love, that's the deal, see? And in love doesn't mean with another person. It means with all persons. With yourself as a person most especially. When you feel the life that you can love inside of you. When you move beyond the programmed existence of the 3D, the machine-like attitude that says, this is what you be, and this is what you be now, and this is what you be now, etc. You know, don't listen to that negatory, backwards kind of thing. It really ain't negative at all. It's just part of the divine dream. You know, that's the nightmare aspect of it. Well, why do you have nightmares? To learn to dream good dreams so you don't have nightmares anymore, you know, to get over your fears, man. What do nightmares do? They bring your fears forward so you can deal with them, baby, see? Most people respond differently, but these days that little formula's changing, ain't it? You know, have yourself a nightmare, and guess what? You're through it. You're done with it. You will never have to deal with that aspect of quote, evil or nastiness or darkness or whatever you want to call it inside of yourself again. For it just became a more uniform part of you. See, even though you might be influenced by outside influences, there's a sacredness to this temple of life we call our personal person. And it's not to be interfered with, even though others seem to have done so in a massive sort of way, and continue to this day with little games that they play. But they is us, see? And that's how we resolve the whole situation, inside of ourselves, first and foremost. Take all energy as it really is. Accept all energy. Don't resist. Don't be protective. Don't flow against it. You know, and I'm instructing myself as we go along here, babies. You know, it's the rock and the roll medicine show, man. And we're all getting it together. We're all learning it together because it's a unified field. Like it or not, in this life. But when you realize that unified field, then you realize the harmonic aspects of this reality. And baby, everything changes. The sun comes up and never goes down. And the stars are still shining, man, because they like hanging around. They don't want to go away just because it's daylight. So they just brighten up enough so you can still see them too, man, because the sun and the stars are one. Sun, S-U-N, born of the mother's heart, see? You know, that's what holds the center of it, man, is that sunlight, man, that bright light. When you start to see in this way, when the metaphor becomes a reality, then you start to understand why we've come here to practice in the 3D and what, truthfully, our real history represents. You know, the de-evolution, the devolvement, that sad, sad time when we brought the duality into being and the density to go with it and knocked ourselves so far down into the ground, we thought we'd never be found, let alone come around. You can't imagine the depression except you can remember that depression because every little bit of depression in this life comes from that same place. When we devolved ourselves to the extent we couldn't even understand each other, let alone communicate at that heart level anymore, it all went away. It became language and language of the day, and we became all these strange little things with all these genetic characteristics that were different from one another, where before we had been such divine presences in human form that you could hardly tell the difference between us. Elegant, beautiful, and not caught up in our big old head, but able to uniformly apply the heart's energy with the divine intelligence of the whole universe in our personal experience. We came from a place like that. That was our highness. This is our lowness. This is our age of darkness. But what does that give us? The same way the roots give life to the flower that blossoms above, see? The darkness always gives birth to the light and the expression thereof. See, you're starting to hear the symphony now. It's a rock opera, baby. See, it's like Aerosmith with the whole dang orchestra, and Led Zeppelin too, and Crosby, Stills and Nash with all their harmonies at last. I mean, and Judy and I mean Janis and Elvis. I mean, just everybody. You know, it's just like that "We Are the World" song, only more magnificently so. That's the silly city we've been building with this rock and roll. It's monstrous, don't you know, but not a monstrosity. You see, monstrous in that it takes in the scope of the whole universe and rearranges it so that we see more clearly, you see. That's what it does here in the 3D. It allows us. It's the musical accompaniment, which is the musical of creation, man. You betcha, man. It brings it out so quickly, man. I just tell you, it's just like, wow, and how. So you're starting to feel it. Now you're starting to know, because we share the rays here on this radio show we call Spring Creek, don't you know? The original moment where the flow of life begins, where the stream of life begins, is way up above the waterfalls of life. And it's way down below where the river meets the ocean, too. It's right here where you are. It's right here where I are. Because I is you, and you are I. Oh, come on, man. What the hell is with that old song? You and I are so damn different. I mean, you know, we'll never get along. What are you talking about, man? Yeah, well, in that flow of love, we're already together, man. You see what I mean? There's no fear. There's no hunger. There's no need to digest anything. Just give it your best. Just be what you are in any given moment. You flow quite naturally with other molecules of water, so to speak, that share a similar vibe, a similar energy, a similar tonal resonation here in the rock and roll harmony of life. True living, true loving, true expansion and growth. And we don't have to come together as men and women to do that anymore. We come together in the heart. You see, we give up even the genderization by recognizing the equality of gender inside of ourselves. Realize we're not really genderized. Big surprise, you see. We all are made of the mother. And in the mother is the father, of course. See, that's the lesson of it. That's the oneness right there. When you begin to accept and grasp and grow in this reality, this is what changes all the 3D. See, because that ends the cosmic war right there. That ends the duality and the polarity. It's called the marriage of the heart. It's when you realize that all of you is one simple part, and not a gazillion little energies pulling you in different directions and trying to rip you apart. That's the illusion, a loving illusion that let us suffer as much as we wanted to, knowing there would be an end to it. In fact, it wouldn't be a reality. It's holographic. Yet, because we experience it, it has a reality all its own. But it's only a part of the much larger reality. It's not a separated and isolated experience in the 3D. It's simply one aspect of what you see. That's why it's so hard to really get it while you're still dealing with it in a 3D way, because there's still good and evil here. There's lots of it, too. And some of the sickest things you ever want to see or be are, let it go. Get out of that flow. Don't be a part of it no more. See, I don't care how deep you are in. You're out right now if you want to be. All you got to do is just let that feeling move you. Let that flow bring you back to life, don't you know? It'll take you beyond your aches and pains. It'll take you beyond all the self-torments you've invented to keep yourself restricted in this reality. Because don't you hear Mama calling through the tonal harmony of the 3D? Come forward, my children, I'm ready for ye. Are you ready for me? It's time, don't you see? This is the best moment there could ever be. It's Spring Creek, the beginning, a fresh drink of water, man, where everything, just desires itself into being, and does it because it's just rocking at it, okay? One love is the heart that creates it all. And in that one love and in the realization thereof is the ability and the power to change everything without going to war with anything, least of all the energies inside of yourself. Now, after the show today, I want you to give yourself a little calm time somewhere along the way. So like me, you just kind of absorb that expansive flow and it becomes part of your life, even more. You see, and again, this is how we begin recreating. In our creativity, in our rock and roll medicine heart and soul, the buffalo heart, the heart of the eagle, the heart of the coyote and the wolf, and everything else that goes with it, cougar too. Oh, babies, I mean, don't feel blue. Just be who you are, and everyone else will too. It's the way it works here, man. It's the magic of the collectivity and the living demonstration of it, which means we're all the same being. All of creation is. Just the same way all the little individual cells and atoms and so forth inside of ourselves form to create this little bodily temple of experience, man. Sacred through and through. That's why we rock it. Because it's got to have its thrills, its knowing. It's got to have its expansive flowing. And that's when you get glowing, when you rock and you roll with the medicine of your heart and soul.